Well, hello, that's me again. Today is June 5th, 2025. It is Thursday. And, oh, good Lord. So, what you see in the beginning, it's actually the end of the. It's not just the building. Anybody who was inside there of the Kherson administration, which is, the city of Kherson have been abandoned by Russians, evacuated, and was, as they captured. For some reason, those generals in Pentagon think that it was some kind of the Ukrainian offensive. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's three cubs, and these are UMPK, which is the module for the high precision, essentially hitting of the target, and modern OMPKs of Russia, latest. Like this one, actually, as you can see yourself, it has a greeting signed on it for the, a little bit of the payout for destroying the two trains, one of them passenger train, which resulted in 130 casualties. And this is really just warm up if you look attentively at what is happening across Ukraine today, yesterday, and day before yesterday. It's just, yeah, it's fireworks, and this is all after Mr. Trump. Again, he is now, we can obviously state that Mr. Trump is utterly incompetent. He is incompetent not just on the, people say he has the, first signs of the senility, and things of this nature. Some even say that he is bipolar, or that he is actually has the onset of dementia. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. The guy is incompetent. He is all about himself, and actually, when you look attentively, as many times have been stated before, his cabal of the so-called advisors, they are really pathetic, from Kellogg to whoever runs this whole circus. And New York Times, just writes about this, that, oh my gosh, after Mr. Trump talked with Vladimir Putin, and President Trump said the Russian leader told him very strongly, yeah, it's Trump's adjectives, in a phone call Wednesday, that he would respond to the drone assault on his country airfields. Well, there's a little bit more to this, which Mr. Trump continues to ignore. There was a terrorism terrorist acts against Russian civilians. And obviously behind these terrorist acts, including the C4 explosion, which was made in the United States, which was used there. So New York Times continues. Oh my gosh. So advisors say Mr. Trump is exasperated with both Mr. Putin and Mr. Zelensky. He reserves special animosity, though, for the leader of the country that was invaded in the first place. So, you know what, Mr. Putin doesn't care how Mr. Trump, what kind of attitude towards him he has. Mr. Trump is irrelevant, as is the United States, in the position of some effort to find some peaceful solution. Nobody buys anymore any word from Trump. He is just a liar. And Mr. Trump has told aides repeatedly that Mr. Zelensky is a bad guy who is edging the world to the precipice of nuclear war. So, and the question is, does Ukraine have nuclear weapons? No. Is the United States going to transfer nuclear weapons to its, favorite SOB, which they created, the best proxy United States ever had? Doesn't seem like. They may try, of course. Then what nuclear war he is talking about? The question, of course, towards Mr. Trump. Did Mr. Trump read Russia's actually nuclear doctrine? Did he read generally military doctrine of Russia? I know he didn't, and he won't understand the first thing there. But so, for some reason, he talks about the precipice of nuclear war. So, is United States going to go to war with Russia? United States cannot win conventionally because U.S. Army is a paper tiger. All this have been this bluff and this, carefully constructed mythology of the finest fighting force in history was actually destroyed completely. The bluff was called, and I don't know how else, the nuclear war can occur, because And that's the other thing, which Mr. Trump has to really probably hear from his advisors. But his advisors are, well, obviously they pursue their own agenda, and Mr. Trump absolutely is not in control of his own administration, as is the traditional now. And when you look at this type of things, actually, this is precisely what is happening in Trump administration. The guy have been kicked into the corner with his Twitter or whatever the hell the name of this Truth Social. He constantly, I mean, and those posts, they do look like bipolar, activity on the part of Trump himself. And the question is, so did he read the Russian nuclear doctrine? Of course not. He doesn't understand it, and his advisors evidently do not explain it to him, because the nuclear war can happen only one way: if United States goes at war with Russia. United States cannot deploy troops without them being annihilated in Europe, and as the result, United States will escalate to the nuclear war with Russia, trying to defend its essentially Nazi regime, of which Mr. Putin explicitly stated to Mr. Trump and in memorandum that actually United States is accomplice to the terrorist regime. And Mr. Trump thinks that Russians need to do to launch nuclear war just to defeat the remnants of what is in we call the country of 404 or Ukraine. I have a bridge to sell him, but we already saw that the sheer incompetence and idiocy from his administration in the last 5 months practically. And Russians do not need nuclear weapons. They have all arsenal which can wipe out the rest of the Ukraine if it comes down to it without using nuclear weapons. And somebody has to tell that Russians, as we all know, Russians stole, yes, this is what Mr. Trump says, they stole hypersonic weapons from United States. Russians stole everything from the United States. We know this. But the point is that their response, as already spoke, is really what's going to be this response? Well, this response is going to be in the final obliteration of the Kiev regime. Mr. Peskov, well, it's Mr. Peskov who speaks for Kremlin. Today, he made a number of the statements, obviously on behalf of Kremlin, and he talks here that Kremlin answered the question: will there be a suspension of negotiations with Ukraine after the terrorist attacks? Yes. And he says the only, not negotiations, the only contacts which will be left are technical. Basically, that's the technical contact about, for example, exchanging the bodies, exchanging POWs or hostages or whatever. Russians do not hold people hostages, only Ukraine does. And Zelensky regime, which is supported by the United States and Europe, who are supporting terrorism. United States is officially now supporter of the terrorism. We're not talking about those chihuahuas from Europe. And he talks about here, if you can see yourself from the quote, which is in Russian, I will translate it for you, that we cannot fail to consider in the future that the regime in Kiev is a terrorist regime. It's officially the Kiev regime is the terrorist regime. So there is also to explain for what kind of the low lives, pretty much all Western media are. Let me demonstrate to you something that actually, as Mr. Rybkov today comes out, and this is first deputy foreign minister, and he acts, of course, unlike Trump administration, which is a complete chaos and a bunch of the morons, running against each other, trying to, just get the position of power and push United States into, for example, war, like great strategic mind like Lindsey Graham. He's not administration, he's a senator, but these are people for example, in U.S. Congress, most of them, they have no clue what real war is. But again, it's when we talk about the collapse of the Western civilization, this is the Exhibit A for you. And here we have this. Before we go, let me show you something, which of course, Russians waited for this whole hype to go banana, and away when they all those media went bananas about talking about the annihilation of the 40% of Russian force or whatever. Look at this. This is from one of the Ukrainian drones, and Russians, of course, had also the feed of it. Do you see anything strange about that? This is old A-50 based on the IL-76. They were reporting that they somehow did something to it. Do you notice the very interesting thing that it has no engines? None of them. You know why it doesn't have any engines? Because it's ready to be essentially decommissioned completely. And even that they couldn't have struck properly. Russians, of course, put all those tires, especially for actually to attract as the, mock-ups, as the fake targets, So yeah, they went for it, and good. Russians needed to basically dispose of those planes. And Mr. Rybkov, he comes in, and now there's a full assessment is available that Ukraine failed to destroy Russian planes in drone raid. Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov has said that aircraft were damaged and will be repaired. None of the Russian aircraft targeted in Ukraine recent drone attacks were destroyed. He based it's an official statement based on the assessment of the Russian Defense Ministry, and the equipment in question, as also stated by the Defense Ministry, was not destroyed by damage. It will be restored, Rybkov said, responding to a question about whether the strikes had affected strategic stability. They did affect it only in a sense that Russia now knows that Trump is actively involved into the terrorism against Russia. He, obviously for 3 days, his administration kept silence, and that was probably trying to figure out what happened, because obviously they miscalculated. Everybody who has any brains left, they know that the United States and England and, United Kingdom and NATO in general miscalculated with all that. And now we have the real increase of the operational tempo on the front. And Mr. Trump, again, you see, this is really strange. First he calls Mr. Putin crazy. Then he calls him. And he talks about that some things which essentially Russians already told him to go pound sand. He is not important anymore, and there will be no peace negotiations. And that tells you everything. Whatever the Trump administration does, whatever Trump plans, everything fails. Because these are utterly incompetent people, including American military. And as the result, what do we have? Let me show you something which is happening right now. And I will start from the 2 days ago, but already for you to know, there was already, well, not rumor, there is information pouring in that Russians made breakthrough already towards Sumy, the city of Sumy, not Sumy region. Russians are already a long time ago in the Sumy region, and if anybody remembers or wants to recall what did I say the moment when this bunch of morons from NATO planned this invasion of Kursk area. Kursk Oblast in August 2024. You can go back, look up my videos, and you can. That's why I love internet. It maintains records, unless of course the Google or Yahoo, whatever the hell those engines and those companies want to basically erase them from completely. But generally speaking, it maintains all those records, and you would immediately encounter my opinion starting from the moment that they invaded Kursk region that. Yep, that's the end of the Sumy. And yeah, this is what happens. So let's go take a look first at yesterday's tally. I don't have the today's tally, but if you take a look at, for example, yesterday, June 4th, yeah, about 1,500 a day, yet another MLRS, yet another IRIS-T. The IRIS-T, it's a German thing, it sucks. One Iskander, and it's done. You can take a look at how this IRIS-T is annihilated. It's all over the place. It's a goner. So, and as you can see yourself, they are basically disposing of the remnants of the armed forces of Ukraine. Continues, and it will continue, and operational tempo only increases. And so let's take a look at what's happening actually 2 days ago, if we want to kind of go and see what is happening. We go to our good friend Marat Khairulin, and let's take a look at Yunakovka and what is happening in terms of the scheme, so to speak, what is happening in Yunakovka. if you take a look at this, it's yesterday. If you take a look at this map, you can see yourself. Essentially, what you see, it's a slaughter. It's complete. It's something on the order. It is meat grinder in the pure and simple. This is the death knell of those. Formations which are trying to hold the line, they can't, and as the result, if we go, it's what is called the segment called, or sector called Suja, or buffer zone, which Russians create. Here is yesterday's scheme. Look attentively what is depicted on the scheme. You see this a little bit of the, intestine, so to speak, just spreading towards Khatin. This is the Russians are already near Khatin. And if you take a look at the scale of these things, after Khatin, after it will be taken, but again, we have to wait and see, and wait for the today's sitrep from the official sources, there will be about 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers to Sumy. And I showed you last time that actually Russian helicopters already see Sumy in their optronic systems, and so Sumy is being, it's being prepped for being taken and or liberated. And as you can see yourself, the situation is not very good for those people there. And now we can go to Konstantinovka. If you take a look at Konstantinovka, and it was 2 days ago, I believe, yes, you see yourself also what is happening. Well, what is happening is the, cauldron. And cauldron continues being formed, and Konstantinovka, we understand, it's gonna fall also, so it's just kind of, a natural thing which is happening there. And we will have, again, as I already stated, have to wait and see, because it's 2 days old. And Chasov Yar, Russians actually liberated most of the Chasov Yar. And basically what is happening right now there is the finishing of the remnants at the outskirts of the city. And it will continue. As you can see yourself, it was 2 days ago, and since then, as you know, each day you essentially have each day the annihilation of one of the Ukrainian brigades. And that brings us to this point, which I wanted to talk about. And you can go across the alternative media of competent people. I wouldn't say myself completely competent. Listen, I'm just doing my little thing. I comment, and sometimes I have to comment on the political matters. But this is sitrep today, and you have to understand, Trump administration screwed it up on such a level that now Mr. Trump can go and run around and, shake his fist, towards Russia, but Russians don't buy anything from him and from his administration. And if you listen today to what Mr. Peskov says, let alone Mr. Putin stated yesterday, and what every other, top Russian officials say today, it's over for Trump administration. There will be no peace settlement. United States was given the off-ramp. Russians were very magnanimous in this respect. They understood that they have to communicate with the, nuclear superpower, however declining, and give the United States a bone, so to speak, saving face. Trump didn't understand that, because he lives in an alternative universe, as does most of his advisors. They are simply incompetent. For example, as I already mentioned so many times, Mr. Kellogg wouldn't understand the first thing of the modern warfare. He's simply not prepared, as most American generals are, to grasp what is happening on the battlefields. You can go to my blog and you can take a look at what I posted today, for example, when describing the method by which actually armed forces of Ukraine are not kept fighting. They are, if I will tell you their kill ratio today, you will be stunned. And you will say that cannot be right, but this is right, this is reality. We're looking at about 1 to 20. This is the kill ratio. So it's a slaughter. And the only reason they keep them in a position sometimes is just merely they sit there, wait for their, fate. They try to fight sometimes, they get killed immediately. And of course, they have the barrier troops. As I already stated, you can go and take a look at my blog. and you will see the video of those barrier troops. Very many of them are NATO. They're Americans, British, Polish especially. They're really good at shooting people, executing people. To fight real, Russians, they are not that good. But yeah, being a barrier troops, shooting at the backs of the retreating Ukrainian troops, they're good at it, that's for sure. And you will see yourself how the executions happen. People try even escape. They are shot on the spot. And this is primarily what is their advising by NATO is coming down to. And this is the only way they can actually maintain any kind of there is no cohesion really. And people from the line of the combat contact who fight the Russians, they say that yes, their radio communications actually you can hear constantly on the radios there's foreign speech. English, Polish, German. So, and Russians, yeah, Russians do their thing. They just yesterday they blew up one of the like 5 kindergartens, 25, maternity wards, and regular fodder from Ukraine. But reality is they blew up their building with the French volunteers, so to speak. This will continue. Russians know where all those NATO people are. They know, well, for the most part, and it doesn't matter how they hide, they will be killed. And this is comes back to actually excellent interview of the Duma deputy, Mr. Tolstoy, great grandson of Leo Tolstoy. When he speak in perfect French, he explained to French television that if you want to send troops, sure, they will be all killed. And this is what Russians already told to Trump. And actually, as was expected, when you read and listen to what Russian side says and what Mr. Trump writes or posts on his social media, which is ridiculous. He's the president of the United States of America. Instead of doing these stupid things, he should be actually busy dealing with the country and huge issues. No, he writes, he changes the story, and he doesn't understand what is going on. He feels it, he senses it, but on rational level, he can do nothing. And first and foremost, because he doesn't have rational thinking anymore. I doubt he had it during the first administration, but today it's absolutely clear that he doesn't. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin also spoke to the Pope. And there was a very interesting twist on this Pope call that actually Patriarch of Russia, he asked Vladimir Putin to convey to Pope the message of congratulations for him being elected the Pope, and serving the Christian idea among his people, Catholics. And Putin certainly did that, but those calls are not accidental, obviously. Everybody understands now that Russians don't care anymore whatever the West tries to do, because I think we can say now that this was the turning point, and many people still do not understand. They still think about this attack on the strategic bombers is the main cause, which of course it's very important. It didn't change a balance in any way. It just showed that you cannot sign any kind of treaties with the United States, because Russians actually were honest in constantly deploying those bombers under the eyes of the American satellites as prescribed by the START Treaty. Not anymore. I don't think there is any serious discussion on the matters of strategic stability is possible between Russia and the United States. But it is the fact that people still forget, and I repeat again, there was a terrorist act against Russian civilians. And actually, the diversionary activity against Russian passenger and other, civilian trains continues. They try to blow up the tracks, railroad, and what can I say? This is have been clearly stated, and nothing could be done about it. Ukrainian regime is a terrorist regime. Washington, D.C., London, Paris, and Berlin are complexes in the terrorist activity against Russia. and there must be consequences, and there will be consequences. There will be consequences to the point that many people say, I don't understand, which is correct, actually, why Russia even maintains some kind of the diplomatic relations with United Kingdom, because you cannot communicate with those people. They are terrorists, basically. They're nothing more than the supporters of the Nazis, as are, for example, most people in Washington. And well, so we now have to, after we look at the maps and we look at what is happening, so yeah, Sumy Oblast will be part of the buffer zone. I don't think that Russians want to put those people on the balance, but as already, information has it, not only Kherson administration was actually obliterated, there is a panic in Kiev. They are afraid that Oreshnik is coming for them. Probably good that they are panicking. Yeah, Russia can obliterate, including whatever their government quarters there, including those bunkers, including those people from CIA and MI6 who sit there trying to pretend that they really matter and know anything about war. It's easily done. People do not understand that. Obviously, the U.S. embassy in Kiev issued immediately their warning about the possible attack. Well, okay, sure, yeah, that's probably a reasonable way to do, but the point is now that, yeah, regime will be gone. It's now absolutely clear, and strategy did change. How did it change? Well, that's the whole other story. I'm not gonna be sitting here and speculating about what Russians are going to do now on the strategic level. As much as the retribution, of which Russians already state clearly, yeah, the retribution is coming, and it could be spectacular. But in the end, this is what many people who, pardon my French, masturbate to all those military toys, Oreshniks, hypersonic weapons and everything. It's fine. They are critical, obviously. They are the tools of war. They must understand that actually it is all about how much the United States will be hurt now. And nobody is going to be talking to Trump in any serious manner. This is a catastrophe, strategic catastrophe to Mr. Trump, especially when Russians came out. Always classy, always reserved, but they came out and stated what Mr. Putin stated. And I don't know, Mr. Trump screwed it up. And there will be no normal relations between Russia and the United States. There will be some relations, technical level relations, but as you know, for example, 5 months into it, we don't have anything which actually indicates their real desire and effort on part of Trump administration, Biden. It's Freudian slip, actually. Trump administration to improve the relations in real terms. United States is the party on the conflict. It is at war with Russia and the Russian people, and the only war it can conduct against Russia is only to launch nuclear weapons. That means the end of the United States as such. It will cease to exist. Or continue terrorist activity, which probably it will do, because in terms of in military terms and strategic and operational terms, United States simply is incapable of doing anything about it. And yes, I already stated that I read Trump's post on his Truth Social about how he's stockpiling weapons better than Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Henry Simpson and George Marshall. It's a circus. And this is what I wanted to tell you today, guys. And this is kind of sit-rep today. And as always, considering the really fast-changing situation, just in case I'm not going to comment immediately, no, I'm still out there for now and, well, trying to survive. And as always, in the end, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford it, please support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee and too. I would really appreciate this. So that will be it for today, guys. Have a nice rest of the week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.